It says Jake Bassey. Ignore that. That's my drag name. Yeah, so convention, there's actually a huge, very horny convention group of people that's like normal. I've gone to 18 plus conventions that have very specialty places and workshops for people to explore and have some fun. And the best part about it is that is not for me. Like it's kind of like Julie described. I identify as asexual, demisexual, basically like you could say it almost feels like I'm missing pieces. Like Julie said, I have absolutely no desire unless I have like bonded and trusted with the person. So basically, I ruin my friendships and my relationships with my coworkers. That's the only way I can really get going. And so, I go to all these like very explicit, like very horny conventions and see all this art. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, that's more breasts than I think I've seen in my lifetime. What am I doing here? But I feel safe and I dress up and it's super fun. But there's like a lot of like characters in anime who are kind of like coded like that, which I love. Like, they're like, oh, I'm too busy doing science to think about love and like all that stuff. So it's a very small percentage of the population, so very rare. So I try, I'll meet people, I'll go on dates, and I'm like very vocal about this part of me because it's not always been like that. And I thought it was just normal, like, oh, it's a one-night stand. I'm not having any fun. Oh, this person, I don't know them, and I'm having a really bad time right now. Am I gay? Like, what's happening? No, I just like, I need to know your trauma. I need to know like what your hyperfixation was in high school. I need to know all of your animals' names, like in order for me to like get off. Like those are my like little bit. We need a trauma bond in order for me to like get excited. And I'll tell people this, and I guess no surprise to any of the people here, but I'll be like, hey, just so you know, I like to take it slow. I want to get to know you. I want to build a bond. And they'll be like, yeah, totally. Like, absolutely. I'm totally fine with that. Date 2. He's like, why don't you get naked? What's happening? And I'm like, am I going crazy? Like, I didn't hallucinate telling you I want to take it slow. So I'm literally like, oh, am I just going to be alone forever? And then like, now I've been meeting these feral cats in my neighborhood, and I'm like, oh, is this where I'm meant to be? Like, is this my whole life? Have I been building up to just be like a single 30-year-old cat woman, living alone? Like, am I just gonna be the fun aunt? Like, this, it's crazy. But I was doomed from the start because on both my parents' sides, it's just like relationships are never good. Like, my parents met when they were both in their 30s and got together, and according to them, the pregnancy was planned, but I was at the wedding. So I'm sticking out. My mom's covering her stomach with flowers. She's like, no, like, we planned it this way. I'm like, Mom, you trapped him. Like, it's you don't have to lie to me. Like, I'm not 16 anymore. Like, it's okay. And my parents are divorced now. They got divorced about 4 years ago. And my poor mother, like, she was trying so hard, but she was just like in such denial. Like, she was like, I'm so happy your dad and I have a good relationship, so your brother and you have good relationships. Like, my brother was dating a woman who would like scream at him, and then I was dating a guy who was like addicted to drugs. So I'm like, Mom, I don't think you set a very good example. I'm so sorry. Like, I know you wanted to, but why are we lying to ourselves? And now they're divorced. So there it is. But yeah, and before that, my mom was married previously. I have an older half sister, and I found out one day that they got married when my mom was 18. Anybody want to guess how old he was? 31.
Oh.
31, and she was 8. I'm 32. I look at someone who's under 25 and I'm like, that is a child. So I'm like, Mom, you were a victim. Like, what's happening? And then I found out when they got divorced, he gave her a gun. So I'm like, did he want? Clearly, no one's thinking things through here. So that was her first marriage, and the same thing happened with my grandmother. I was adopted. My dad was adopted because my grandmother had him at 15 with a 19-year-old. But that was the 50s, so it was a little bit different, I guess. Still not okay. And so my dad grew up his whole life only thinking that he had like a mother out there somewhere, and grew up as an only child. And then when our adopted like grandmother passed away, he met my grandmother, spoke with her, and found out he had these 3 sisters who all date older men. It runs in the family. And so they're wonderful and incredible. But then my dad does a little more digging, and he goes on ancestry.com and finds out there's 5 more siblings out there in the world. So ancestry.com was like, your grandfather got around. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not on my second divorce by 32, and I should consider myself lucky because it could be so much worse. And I'm just so thankful. But yeah, now my parents are dating, my dad's dating, and I was so afraid that she was going to be younger than me, because that's like, you know, a man who's in his 70s usually dates younger women. And he's been dating women his age, and I've been so happy. But he's been such a little like teenager about it. He's like, yeah, hey, like, so no big deal. Like, I met this girl. And she's like, you know, she's an actress, she's a model, like, and like, it's so no big deal, but like, I really want you to meet her. And I'm like, okay, like, clearly she's your girlfriend and you're lying to her. Okay, so this is why I date men who also will not say that I'm their girlfriend, even though we've been seeing each other for 2 years. Okay, no, I'm seeing a pattern. And she wasn't 25, and I was so happy. She's in her 70s as well. But now I do wish he would date women that were closer to my age, because then they will go to therapy. Because a lot of that generation doesn't believe in therapy. And she writes true crime fan fiction about herself and the Zodiac Killer.
Ooh.
She fully believes that the Zodiac Killer stalked her for her whole life and like kept track of her. She also said she was like in Playboy and like so I don't know how to like decide between what's real and what's her delusion. So I'm like, you know what, Dad, I think that might be dangerous for you. And he's like, no, it's fine. And I'm like, okay. All right. Meanwhile, my mom's like living, and she's like the happiest she's ever been. She has a wonderful husband who treats her well and is everything she meant to be. So that's great for her. My dad, he's the one who cheated, so he deserves to be happy. My mom didn't even tell him like what she found out. She found out that he was messaging all these women. I think he paid a bunch of money to a woman to come see him. That was a scam, obviously. Even though they told me to be careful about talking to strangers on the internet, he lost $2,000, but
wow.
Whatever. And so he deserves all of that. But yeah, my mom was like, she didn't even tell him what happened. She was just like, all your stuff's outside. And he was like, okay. Like, he knew what he did. So yeah, because of all that, I think is why I haven't successfully found another person to share my life with. It's been a little difficult. I've been thinking recently about I did touch the water a little bit of the older man thing when I was 22 and he was 30. And the older I get, the more I'm like, that's not okay. That I was just barely drinking and he owned a house. Like then we were not on the same, well, mature wise, we were on the same level. Like he had not gotten past 22 as far as maturity goes. But yeah, the more I think about it, I'm like, oh, that wasn't good for either of us. And I don't know what happened. He like loved bombed me, right? Which we hear a lot, and people kind of go back. Basically, he was like, "We're gonna get married and we're gonna have kids, and I love you." A month into our relationship, which I was like, "Oh my god, he's the one." 20, 21, 22 years old. So, and of course, like he decides like he's gonna break up with me, and he had never broken up with someone before. 30. Wow. So, think what you want. But so his decision was, I'm going to take her to her favorite restaurant and I'm going to break up with her at her favorite restaurant.
Oh my God.
Because he thought, oh, I should do what they do in movies. And I think he thought it was going to be like You've Got Mail, where they're like, oh, we're not good for each other. Oh, great. Like, good luck with everything in your life. No, it was, if he was going to ruin my favorite restaurant, I was going to ruin it for everybody. I was going to legally blonde that whole situation and everyone there. So I was literally like, you were going off movies to do real life. Okay. We never got to the restaurant. Like he could not get himself to do it. I do not know why. But yeah, basically I was like, so we'll do this and we'll do that and we'll do this. And he was like, yeah, I don't know. Like that was his 30 years old. And so I basically had to like get it out of him. And I was like, hey, like, are we not moving forward together? Like, and I was like, what the heck? Like, you said we would have kids. Like I said, are we going to travel together? And you said, yeah, before we have kids. And his response to that was, I didn't mean together.
Oh, God. Oh, wow.
Bruh, like, what do you mean? Like, I swear, like, guys today are just, like, so non-committal. And, like, which is crazy because I saw, like, a tweet one time that was like, oh, I'm the girl you'll date before you meet your wife. And I don't know if anyone else has experienced all of their very problematic commit-phobe boyfriends all getting married and having children now, but that's what's been happening with me. So I'm like, what am I doing that they don't want to date or marry me? And then they turn around and the next girl, they're like, you know what? You didn't treat me like my mom. And for that, I'm going to marry you. I don't know if any of you people have also like experienced this. Have you ever had like when you break up, their parents are like, I'm so sorry about my child? That's when I'm like, okay, I thank you for apologizing for your failure as a parent, I guess. But like, I've stayed in contact with my ex's parents. They're like, oh, like I like you more than my own child. Like, I'm like, okay, but he didn't want to marry me. All right. But I mean, like I said, I've dated guys who've done drugs, and like one of my exes, you feel bad sometimes. You're like, how did I, like, where are they now? How did I get here? Where are we? And my best friend who still lives in Northern California, he said, oh, I ran into your ex the other day. I was like, oh yeah, how's he doing? Please don't be doing better than me. Please don't be doing better than me. And he's like, yeah, he was trying to sell a bunch of girls crystals. So I think I won that breakup. But then that's about enough trauma dumping from me. My name's been Jake Bassey, Alex Gabe.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much.